when you look at the evidence and you look at the fact that Jameis Winston was never charged criminally, then it's not so hard to believe that he has been clear here, because in both instances, the prosecutor in Tallahassee and now Major Harding have both said there simply was not enough evidence to find Jameis Winston guilty of a crime, or in this case, any sort of violation of the Student Conduct Code.
There has long been the belief that if one is a star athlete at any level of play, Pee Wee League, high school, college, pros, even in retirement, they get special dispensation in any case involving the law. And what we've seen in Tallahassee, Florida, will speak to this concept yet again, with little in the way of plausible denial. Let's welcome back the sports professor, seen and heard nationally on more media outlets than commercials for the Snuggie. The man who invented the concept of sports business, Rick Horrow, joins us again. Hey, Rick. Can he hear us? Hello, Rick.
I can hear you now.
Okay, there you go. I was going to start using sign language in a minute just to make sure. You missed a wonderful introduction where I said you're seen and heard on more places than the Snuggie. So there you go. You missed the joke and it all went away.
Actually, I heard it, and I wanted to make sure you had the guts to say it again.
I did. When it comes to you, I got lots of guts to say it. Let's talk about the guts that it took with Jameis Winston here in Tallahassee. The lawyer for Winston's accuser said, and I quote, "I think it was biased. The fix was in. It's all about a football game 10 days from today. It turned out to be just a predetermined whitewash to keep a guy playing football." Isn't it fair to say that we hear this about whether it's right or wrong or evidence or not? This is the prevailing thought on collegiate athletes in America.
It's a prevailing thought. I'm not sure the lawyer did himself any favors by being back over the top. And so you really don't know what the evidence is. I know a lot of people, in order to make the claim that there's a whitewash, presumes that Winston either was guilty or there's a lot of evidence. But there are a lot of people who say that's not true. I'm not defending him. I'm a University of Miami fan, not a Florida State fan. It's irrelevant to me. The point is that he went through this system. Problem is, with him in these timing-sensitive issues, last year with the Heisman, this year with the championship, the bowl selection committee, there was always the appearance that the issues and process comes out the way it came out based on certain football-related dates, good or bad.
What is it going to take to get past that, though, Rick? Is it going to take the NCAA involvement, more legislation for the colleges that are involved, more legal? I mean, let's face it, the police department in Tallahassee didn't do themselves any favors either by basically shuffling this off the coil here for a little bit and not getting to it right away.
Well, it's the same issue, by the way, some tinkering around the edges, as Adrian Peterson, Ray Rice. These are all, what do they have in common? Off-field behavioral incidents that the police department should have primary responsibility on adjudicating. Now, if we assume the police have their own motivations, as a college or as an NFL, you're not going to be judge, jury, and executioner. If the police department does X, you're not going to be in a position to do Y. The NFL and everybody else is not a law enforcement organization. So you've got to take as starters the fact that the judicial system, the investigatory system, the grand jury system does as best it can. Now, we know from Ferguson and otherwise that's not always the case, but if you don't, you get in a big morass.
With regard then to the National Football League, you bring it up. This has been the worst year ever for the National Football League when it comes to off-the-field incidents. I guess the big question is, do you think Roger Goodell survives, and have they done enough? Have they done what needed to be done? And I guess the side of that will be, will the players really knuckle down and follow the rules this time?
A lot of different cases. Well, first, are the players going to continue filing the lawsuit that Adrian Peterson filed on behalf of certain players relative to due process? D. Smith, who is the labor union leader, is supposed to be a partner. Now, he is defending the collective bargaining system, not necessarily the substance, but it certainly looks bad when Roger Goodell puts the conduct policy in place and has a lot of people involved in it. And say what you want about Roger Goodell, he stuck to his timetable as well before the Super Bowl. Now, Anheuser-Busch and Procter & Gamble and other companies who have $200 million in activation before the Super Bowl and during it. 44% of the fans are avid women fans, and 2/3 of the fans say they'd rather miss a commercial than miss a play, or miss a play than miss a commercial. They want to watch the commercials, is my point. And as far as the NFL is concerned, this is a time where the conduct policy is on notice. it certainly doesn't help that the labor union looks like they're an enemy, not a partner.
From another sport here, fair to say that with what happened with Donald Sterling, the LA Clippers owner this season, the NBA has certainly changed. And as a matter of fact, it certainly bolstered the future or the present legacy, if you will, of the new commissioner.
Yes, sir. And I did a 14 for 14, the top business items for the year, and this was clearly number one. The $2 billion with Steve Ballmer, A, the lifetime ban, B, the racial sensitivity by Adam Silver and his players, C, the value of the franchise, which isn't going to affect every franchise at $2 billion, but it's going to impact the NBA. And by the way, while we're at it, every other team sport. D, helping stabilize the NBA in Los Angeles. E, the $24 billion NBA television contracts, which were also part of this consequence. And F, the legacy of Adam Silver. And I don't have a G.
Okay, that'll go plenty from there. A minute or so that we have left here. Speaking of money as well, something else on your 14 for 14. NASCAR had a difficult season in the line of many. At one point, this was a sport that was going to rival the National Football League in money and in popularity. They've taken a little dive in the last couple of years here, tinkering with the sport. Is the bloom off the rose here, or can they once again come back and try to challenge for the #1 spot in America?
Ed Bloom's coming back, thanks to Brian France, the commissioner of the league, the chairman of the league, tinkering with the playoffs, just like the FedEx Cup did. And if you didn't think tinkering with playoffs wasn't working, the NFL might add a couple of teams in April. I wish they could add a couple of teams now. Dolphins would get in, but they don't do it that way. So the bottom line is, with NASCAR, you have a situation where there's a $300 million, $400 million facelift, major facelift of Daytona International Speedway, fan attendance is up, sponsorships up. Sprint's pulled away, so they got to solve that problem. But so far, on balance, NASCAR had a very good year.
10 seconds. The NFL, you think 2 more teams when? Season? 2 seasons?
Yeah, 2 more teams announced in April. Probably won't be in until a couple of years from now. But it doesn't help unless they do it by next Friday for the Dolphins.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Trust me, man. It's not the season, Rick. It's not the season. You've got a poor floor. You got one of our floor crew right here now. The poor guy is having hives. You keep talking about Dolphins and playoffs in the same sentence. Stop doing that, Rick. You're hurting people.
1972, baby.
Oh, please. We're going to get you to stop living in the past. Rick, it's always a pleasure, my friend. Have a great Christmas. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. I'll talk to you soon.
Happy New Year, my friend. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. After the break, we return with the bellowing of the big, bad bear right here on MidPoint.